The show is Holistic Wellness. We've been having this conversation on holistic wellness. And why holistic wellness? It's because, of course, there is a lot that has to do with our life. So my focus will be more of understanding mental wellness, understanding our physical wellness, and also being able to understand our spiritual wellness. So we have been on the series of mental wellness. And remember, there's a difference between mental health and mental wellness. Mental health, we will be talking about issues, depression, issues, anxiety, trauma, understanding maybe sicknesses like bipolar, those that touch the brain. But there is again a connection between mental health and mental wellness. In fact, when we lack mental wellness, it's what affects our mental health. So our lack of mental wellness affects our mental health, and that's why I began there at mental wellness. So today I'll be talking about stress. And I'm talking about stress, not necessarily on the stress that maybe happen on your body, or stress that would happen because of maybe going through like an accident and it stresses your physical body, but I'm talking about stress connected to emotions. So things that happen to us or things we go through in life and they cause stress. So those are the things that we'll be talking about. So of course, it's a word that is highly used. Sometimes we use that word and we may not even be aware of what exactly it is. Sometimes nowadays now we are even hearing children saying, I am feeling stressed. So what is this? So mostly stress is an occurrence. Something happens to me and that one causes a mental disturbance, either in terms of fear, in terms of feeling worried, or that anticipation of what is going to happen. Some causes of stress would be loss of a loved one, loss of jobs, any form of loss would cause stress. Other stress is work-related stress. You have all these jobs that you need to accomplish in a certain given duration, and it gives you an overwhelming mind, or you are so uncomfortable. You're not stable mentally because you're thinking about how you're going to complete the work. Then of course there are issues of like academic stress. Maybe you're doing your studies and there is so much you want to work on. There is so much you need to do, and because of that academic requirement that you're supposed to accomplish, that one builds up in your mind and becomes overwhelming. Now, the body is able to manage normal stress. The way we have been made by God, we are able to manage stress. But when those stress emotions or the emotions go beyond management, like now I have this exam and I cannot settle, I can't even sleep at night, or I am waiting for this job offer and I cannot be able to sleep, or it is that loss of a loved one and it's like my life stops completely, then that is where now stress has gone to a level that needs treatment. Of course, we can be able to manage stress on our own. But when it goes beyond what we can be able to manage, that is when we may require support. So today, again, we'll be handling the issue of now stress management. How can I be able to manage that stress? Not putting aside how we sometimes even manage stress the wrong way. You find people who manage stress by maybe taking alcohol or overeating or eating some particular foods, and sometimes it is unhealthy foods, or maybe sleeping for a long time. Those are unhealthy coping mechanisms of stress. Now, this, because remember we are talking about holistic wellness. So if I manage my stress the wrong way, it can affect my mental health. It can also affect my physical health. So if I am managing stress maybe by just sleeping, I will not have time to exercise. Or if I am managing stress by eating unhealthy foods, I will affect my nutritional status. And affecting my nutritional status means then I will also affect my physical health. So that's where they come and connect. That yes, it is mental wellness, but it has affected my physical wellness. Again, there are some that will manage stress by not sleeping or oversleeping. Let's handle not sleeping. So again, remember we've said that sleeping helps us rejuvenate the body. The time we go and rest, sleep, we have an opportunity to rejuvenate our body. Now, if I am not able to get enough sleep, it might affect my blood pressure, it will affect my nervous system, it can affect my brain, it can affect so many other things in my body, yet it was a mental problem, but it has brought a physical problem. So you realize all these things are interconnected. So being able to be holistically well is very important, and that's why our show is called Holistic Wellness. So we'll be talking about coping mechanisms or how we handle stress in different ways. So healthy coping mechanisms include finding solutions. What is this that is stressing me? I am able to go and find solutions. Being creative. Become creative about managing that particular issue. If it is maybe work related, I can look for creative ways to be able to complete the assignment given. Or if it is academic related, maybe I can avoid studying alone and I go do group work. If it is after loss of a loved one, I can go look for a solution by speaking to a counselor or talking to a pastor or going to a person that I trust and I talk to them about the feelings or the things that I am going through. So you realize then it is very important to make sure that I understand how to manage or be creative about the problem that I am going through. Then again, prioritizing well-being. So because we say the stress will happen to us, and it happens to all of us. So the moment I know I might be stressed about a matter, I prioritize well-being. I remember that the moment I just allow myself to remain in that state, it will not only affect my mental health, but it is going to affect my physical health, and it's also going to affect my spiritual well-being. So all those areas are affected. And the moment those areas are affected, I will not be productive. If it is at work, I will not be able to work like I'm supposed to. When it comes to relating with people, I will not be able to relate with them well. Even if it means raising children as a parent, I will again be affected on my parenting styles. So I need to prioritize well-being. The next one is seeking professional help. I said that about seeking professional help. That is from a counselor or any mental health expert. And of course, avoid also seeking answers from people who are not professionals. When we get diabetes, we don't take it to our friends. When we are told we have hypertension, we don't go and tell our friends to treat us. We go to a professional. In fact, we go and even narrow it further. From a general practitioner in the hospital, we want to go and see a cardiologist. When we are told it is diabetes, we want to go and see somebody who is specialized in the same. When we have a problem with our bones, we want to see an orthopedist. But when it comes to matters mental health, sometimes, most of the times, we find ourselves seeking help from the wrong places. And of course, definitely, we will get wrong diagnosis, wrong treatment, and it will lengthen our treatment or even the help that we would have gotten. So getting professional help is very important. Then again, of course, avoiding falling into a cycle of unhealthy stress responses. So when you don't manage stress well, what happens is that this particular issue that caused pain, maybe let's say loss of a loved one, we leave it unattended. So it is left in my subconscious mind, still affecting my life. So because I never dealt with it, when now I get some other pain, again another stressor, I don't also deal with it conclusively. Then I get another one and I don't deal with it conclusively. What happens is that I create a cycle. So I will be hurting and hurting and hurting. And most of the times you find yourself stressed throughout your life. So avoid falling into a cycle of unhealthy stress responses. So of course, make sure you are not finding yourself just brushing off pain or brushing off anything that was of stress, because it will have an effect on your mind. One day your mind will be overwhelmed and you will not be able to carry it anymore, and before you know it, you are not able to manage it at all. So a coping mechanism, of course, is a technique individuals use to manage stress. Remember, stress is connected to anxiety, it is connected to negative emotions, and it might also cause depression. Remember now, we are talking about mental wellness, but the lack of that mental wellness will also cause mental health issues or mental health challenges. And then of course, different coping mechanisms such as problem solving. Now, this is where education or just self-education comes in. There are some things that will never be taught in school. Sometimes we think, just because I went to school up to the level of PhD, I know everything. So maybe I don't require to learn more. There is so much about life that is not taught in school. Skills like problem-solving skills. You will never go to a place and you find a teacher teaching how to manage or solve problems. How to exercise. Sometimes these are not things that will be taught. How to relax. Self-care. Social support. These are things that I have to intentionally work towards. And of course, they have a big impact in managing stress. I talked of problem solving, exercise, relaxation, self-care. And when we are talking about self-care, we are talking about making sure you take time to rest, take enough water, feed, have a nutritional balanced food, have right relationships. That is self-care. Making sure that you're not overworking yourself to the extent that you don't have time to rest. Those are things connected to self-care. And then again, we talk about social support, family, friends. Very important. The statement, "it is my life," is a lie, because there is no one who can be self-sufficient. We can never live this life without people. So sometimes people may hurt us and we almost feel like we don't want to be associated with anyone else. But the truth is that we will always need people in this life. We cannot do it alone. So other types of coping skills which are not right or which will affect our life, it is things like now drug and substance abuse. And especially like in Kenya, this is what has affected us the most. There is a lot of consumption of alcohol and drugs, even by young children, because of course, it is a way of managing stress. I talk to young people and teenagers, and most of the times you keep hearing them saying that is the way to cope with stress is have a few drinks. That's a lie. Allow me to tell you that the moment we have introduced a substance in the body, now I had a mental wellness problem, which is stress. It transforms to a mental health problem because it is going to cause a chemical dependency problem, which finally is going to become an addiction. And the moment I'm at the level of addiction, I have completely lost my life. I have completely been absorbed into this lifestyle where I am lost in a world of my own. I cannot be able to manage my life anymore. I was only maybe managing a single problem, but now I have heaped upon myself a heap of problems to the extent that my life stops. And that is what many people's lives have turned out to be. In the process of seeking help or managing stress with drug and substance abuse, they end up losing their life completely. So, of course, that is not a strategy we want to get into. The next one is avoidance. I'm talking about avoiding the problem. And I think I'd mentioned it before, that I had loss, I leave loss. I say I will not deal with that one. Maybe loss of a job comes, I will not deal with it. A broken relationship, I don't deal with it. I pile up problems until my emotional status becomes unstable. So by the time I am even thinking about working on myself, I have gotten a mental breakdown because I used avoidance. So it is when I realize I have a challenge, I take on it head on with the understanding that this is a normal situation. It happens to everyone. Everybody has a certain stress, has a certain thing that overwhelms them, so that we do not look at ourselves and even start to pity ourselves, thinking that we are the only ones going through that particular challenge. Then, of course, the issue of self-harm. We are living in a season where we are hearing a lot of suicide happening. That is what we are talking about, self-harm. We will see people trying to cut themselves. We will see people maybe even trying to lock themselves up in the house. That is not the right way to deal with stress. And saying this does not undermine the pain that comes with stress. But before we get to that level, where we cannot be able to handle it completely, we have to even go to the extent of taking our lives. Talk to someone, talk to a health professional who can be able to help you manage that stress, or simply just follow God of Wonder TV. We will be here every other day just discussing mental wellness and, of course, holistic wellness. Our desire is to make sure that we can be able to live a productive life, a life that is thriving in every area. And then, of course, unhealthy and destructive ways, maybe fighting with your friends or fighting with your family members. These are not the best ways of managing stress. So, if you do not manage stress, many people develop what we call defense mechanism. Many people who have not been able to manage their stress build up things called a defense mechanism. Now, a defense mechanism is not a solution. A defense mechanism is something that I have adopted to help me feel good. So I have not dealt with the problem. I have not dealt with the pain or the cause of the stress. I have not dealt with it at all. All that I've done is I've masked. We call it masking. I've masked the problem with a defense mechanism. And sometimes they are unconscious. They are not planned. It's because the brain needs to feel comfortable. Your mind wants to feel at ease. So the only way is to come up with these defense mechanisms. And of course, some of the examples is repression. That is when you suppress the problem. You behave like that problem does not exist. Then there is denial. You meet someone and somebody can tell you are not okay, and you say, I'm doing very well. Or you are already into me, I am okay, everything is fine. That is denial. Then there is projection. Projection is when now the pain is with me, and the person I am passing on that pain is not the one who has caused the pain, but because the pain is too much, I have to pass it on to other people. Most of the people who have challenges with domestic violence, those people who beat up their wives or their husbands or beat up children, they have a problem of projecting pain. They never dealt with their pain. So the only way to deal with that pain, and it is unconscious sometimes, is projecting it on other people. So many relationships have been broken because of this. So many people have lost jobs because they don't know even how to speak to their bosses. They don't know how to talk to their clients because they project the pain on other people. Then, of course, there is rationalization and many other defense mechanisms. Then, when we do not deal with stress, automatically we get into defense mechanisms. Now, these defense mechanisms are the worst because we justify them. In fact, we say that is who I am. That is how I deal with people. That is what I do every other time. Sometimes we even go further and say, this is even how my father used to behave. This is how all my brothers do. And we feel very good when we are saying that. Yet it is a defense mechanism we have already adopted that has covered our real self, or we have not been able to deal with the challenge that is affecting us. So coping mechanisms are conscious and intentional strategies individuals use to manage stress or navigate challenging situations. Of course, unlike defense mechanisms, these skills are more proactive and involve actively seeking effective ways to deal with stressors. So coping mechanisms aim to alleviate distress and improve overall well-being. So instead of having defense mechanisms, we are supposed to have coping mechanisms of how to manage stress. Yeah, and we've mentioned all these. We've mentioned strategies to be able to deal with stress. One of them, of course, is building our self-confidence, being able to know who we are, our self-esteem. Instead of avoiding problems, we choose to start building our self-confidence and believing in ourselves, believing in what we can be able to do, and handling the stress when as early as it is, where we can be able to manage it. And of course, seeking support, we've talked about that, using humor just to be able to manage stress, and of course, physical activity. We've talked about being proactive. So in a nutshell, what we are saying is, yes, stress. We will go through very stressing situations. We will go through stressful things are going to happen that are very stressful in our life that we cannot avoid. One of the things I've realized mostly, and which is very hard, is that when hard or difficult situations happen to us, we fail or we are not able to handle them because we are fighting them back. We are trying to imagine that it would not have happened to us. Even when we maybe lose our jobs, and we are trying to imagine that it did not happen. The best thing to do is to accept that it has happened, and even be ready for challenges in life. Yeah, so we were talking about coping mechanism and being able to use the right coping mechanisms for stress, and we've said seek support. Use, of course, relaxation techniques, problem solving, use humor, physical activity. We've said being creative. And we are doing this so that we don't get into what we've called defense mechanisms. Because when defense mechanism comes, it will affect almost everything concerning us. It affects our lives, it affects our relationships, and our mental health definitely even becomes affected more, which has an effect, a direct effect on our physical health. Then, of course, maybe just look at a few, we call them maladaptive coping mechanisms, and that is what we were talking about, examples of use of substances. Other people get into gambling, doing self-harm. That's what we were talking about. Maybe somebody can shoot themselves or kill themselves or even shoot other people. Then there is emotional numbing. Emotional numbing is when you don't want to feel. You don't want to feel the pain. You assume that the pain is not there. That one is also dangerous to us. Then, of course, there is withdrawing from others, isolation, or just staying away from people. And then, of course, there is escaping or distracting from the problem, or over-indulging in things, over-indulging maybe by overeating, oversleeping, overspending. You just get into a shopping mall and you just shop because of the pain that you're going through. Again, that is not right, because it is going to have a direct effect on our lives. So you see, the things I've just mentioned here is what we have inclined to more. We found ourselves picking those maladaptive ways of dealing with stress. You find mostly people, when you're going through a stressful situation, you want to close yourself in. And even when we are talking about this, if you're kindly going through the things we are just talking about, please reach out to us. You can inbox us and seek help. Help is available. You don't have to die in your problem, regardless of what it is that you're going through, regardless of the pain you have gone through. Even if it has taken a long time, you can be able to get help. We have seen people being transformed. We have seen people getting help, mentor support, and living a productive life, a life maybe they never thought they would have lived. We've done counseling with people who have tried suicide many times, but because they sought help, because they went and looked for help from the right people, they have been completely helped, and they are doing very well. We've dealt with people who are in addiction, high level addictions, and they are doing well. So you can also be able to get help. So if you're in that place and you're feeling stuck, I am talking this and you're hearing like you're the one I'm talking to, kindly seek help. You can inbox us and we will be able to guide you on how you'll be able to find help. So, of course, deal with your emotions, work on your emotions, learn how to write what you feel through journaling. Just writing your feelings, exercise, use meditation. I want us to talk about meditation through the Word of God. Read the Word of God and meditate on it. I don't want to go the direction of any other form of meditation because it might cause even more confusion. Then, of course, there is deep breathing. Breathe in and out and make sure that you're able to feel strong. Being mindful all the time. Connect with how you're feeling. Don't avoid. Connect with your emotions. Keep asking yourself, why did I behave the way I did? Why did I talk the way I did? Why did I handle that person the way I did? Yeah, so being able to be a little bit more proactive. So I wish you all the best, and I pray that even as we continue on this show, Holistic Wellness Show, we will be able to become more productive in our marriages, more productive in our parenting styles. As children, will become more productive with our children, with our parents. And I believe this is going to transform our lives and be able to look at life differently. Of course, if we can be able to manage them, then it means our mental wellness is going to be improved way better, and we will not affect our mental health, and we won't affect our physical health. So thank you so much. This is God of Wonder TV.
You are watching God of Wonder TV, to refill, refresh and resent by the word of nation.